All right, let's talk about Tarpon Springs. I just wanted to share some of the things to do around the area, some of the things we like to do, some of the things everybody else likes to do, whether you're thinking about living here or just visiting the Tampa area, the Tarpon area. Here we go. I'm Sam, and thanks for coming by the Living in Tampa channel, where we make these videos for you about what it's like to live and move to the whole Tampa area. We're also a team of realtors here in the area, and we would love to earn your business. Give us a call, text, or email anytime. We'd love to just hop on a Zoom call and process anything we can to help your move. So I live in Tarpon Springs. See where it is on the map. We mostly chose this area because of family. There are a lot of parts that I really love about it, but we mostly chose it because of family. And I've made a couple videos recently linked above about Tarpon Springs, kind of cost of living, history, Greek stuff. They're all linked up there. Now I wanted to make a video about kind of what to do in Tarpon Springs. Both if you're visiting the whole Tampa area, or if you're just visiting Tarpon, or you're thinking about living close to this area. Actually, Tarpon is kind of a pull for the whole North Pinellas County area, because they have a little more like reoccurring events than a lot of the other towns, and we'll get into those. As mentioned in other videos, they used to call this area the Venice of the South. And that's really because of how many houses in town have water access. So there are these bayous in the middle of town that are brackish water. So it's saltwater and freshwater mixed. It's actually coastline that's managed by like the Army Corps of Engineers, which also just means if you want to build a boardwalk, it takes 10 years. But that is in the works to like build a boardwalk around the Whitcomb Bayou, which would be really cool. So a lot of water throughout town, super interesting, really pretty. A lot of houses that are even on the other side of the road from the water have docks, have boat lifts out there, and can get out to the Gulf from those bayous. They can also get up the Anclote River if you're looking to just like take kayaks up or things like that. Also in Tarpon Springs, you have some really fun Greek culture. Sometimes it's kind of in your face, and I notice it more than my in-laws do. They're Greek, but they also just see it as normal because they're from here. So even just like holidays, like Orthodox Easter, Christmas, New Year's, 4th of July, anything like that, it's loud. And it's kind of like in another country or something where they have these like just fireworks for fun. And one guy called them the other day on Orthodox Easter, he called them Greek bombs. And they're so loud. My 4-year-old daughter was just like terrified because of how loud they were. And it was like a block away. So it's fun overall. It's a little intense. And it's, as an outsider, you just notice it so much more. And it's kind of funny, I still think of myself as an outsider. Maybe I'm just kind of taking on this personality of like, I'm an outsider to the Tampa area overall. And that kind of helps me make these videos because it helps me kind of get into your mind and think about what you might be thinking about these areas too. So I'm just kind of staying, I'm an outsider. Okay, but number one thing to do is this. This is Fred Howard Park Beach. It's a county beach, and there's like a long causeway that leads out to this beach, and it's actually really nice. It's not a super huge beach, but actually one of my clients recently told me how much they dislike those super huge beaches, like St. Pete Beach, which is just deep and so long. You could just like walk and walk and walk and never get to the end of it. This beach I think is a little over a quarter mile long, and there's people out here doing laps. It's 10:30 in the morning, so it's pretty scarce out here right now. There's also another beach in Tarpon Springs called Sunset Beach. That's actually a city park. It doesn't come out into the Gulf as far. There is like a little causeway to get out there. There's a park out there, and there's a little beach. And there's also a boat ramp at Sunset Beach, which is very, very used. There's no boat ramp at Howard Park, but there is like a big park with trails. There's a little lake in there. There's a playground. There's, picnic tables. There's a baseball backstop. And there's a bunch of like pavilions and picnic tables and that kind of thing. There's also a little rescue facility out here for manatees, I think. It's actually part of the Clearwater Marine Aquarium, which my daughter is like really into. And we flew the drone out here to try to find this rescue facility that they talked about in one of their YouTube videos. And we found it. It's just kind of like a facility that's kind of hidden off a back road. So beach, that's the first thing to do in Tarpon Springs. And these beaches are kind of hit by a lot of the area because on this north side, there's just not as many beaches. The next beach would be Honeymoon Island. And then you get down into like the bigger beaches after Clearwater Beach, all the way down to St. Pete Beach. Number two thing to do in Tarpon Springs is still water related. So Lake Tarpon is a 2,500 square mile giant freshwater lake just on the east side of Tarpon Springs, kind of dividing Tarpon Springs and East Lake. I know, East Lake. It's on the east side of the lake. That town doesn't have the most original name. But Lake Tarpon has a lot of parks, a lot of county parks right along it, but then also has, you know, boat ramps, has a lot of houses that are on the lake, and has great, like, you know, skiing and fishing, everything that a big lake would have. And it's really, really big. Okay, number 3 thing for Tarpon Springs is First Fridays. So the first Friday of every month, they shut down the downtown, no cars, and it's just like all the restaurants serve food more outside. There's a lot of seating, there's a lot of kind of like art festival kind of vibe, and a lot of the area comes to that. It's actually crazy crowded. It's always one of those times when I'm like, wait, why are all these people in my town? I don't understand. So that is one of the things that draws a lot of people from the area. It's a really cool thing that keeps going, that I think inspires a lot of other towns to do something similar. Then number 4 is Second Saturdays. Also, you know, not super original. Second Saturdays is kind of another kind of market festival kind of thing like that. And not that that's like a super exciting thing to do, but it's a consistent thing that happens that is like community engagement. It's fun for the kids. It's fun to like go like connect with your community, make friends, all those kind of things. There's also an assortment of other like art festivals, seafood festivals, things like that. Actually in the park that's close to our house, Craig Park, which is right in the middle of town, right on one of the bayous. Those aren't on the list, but there are other things like that throughout the year. Okay, number 5 is the sponge docks. We talked about the sponge docks in the Tarpon history video. It's linked up above if you missed that. Sponge docks are active sponge docks. So spongers go out, collect sponges off the bottom of the ocean. They bring them in, they kind of manicure them up, they sell them, all different kinds of sponges. It's pretty interesting. It's a functioning sponge dock. They also catch shrimp down there, all kinds of fish. There's food and bakeries and shops and everything down there. It's kind of touristy, but it's still like people's livelihood down there. It's not like just a tourist trap. There's some fun things to do even if you live here. And every time we go down there, we're like, oh yeah, this is actually pretty fun. A couple of my favorite places to eat down there: Dimitri's on the water for like a nicer Greek experience. Rusty Belly's at the end of the sponge docks has great seafood, cool like outdoor seating area too. And then National Bakery. So National Bakery is just off the sponge docks, but I recommend this bakery over the other ones. One thing to know about National Bakery is you have to have cash. It's cash only. Also at National Bakery, they make sandwiches, but they don't really talk about it. So if you want a sandwich, just tell them like what sandwich you want. They'll make it for you. It's kind of fun, like small town vibe in there. And then next to that bakery, there's this like interesting like kind of gambling hall. It's always just Greek guys in there, older Greek guys like playing cards and dominoes and smoking inside. No one's speaking English. Even the people sitting outside are just speaking Greek. It's always super confusing. I don't know what they're playing. It's kind of fun though. Okay, number 6 on the list is boat rides. So we talked about, you know, the beach, we talked about the lake, but there's also a lot of boat ride options where you can just like pay to go out on the boat. And there's a bunch of them, and all of them take off from the sponge docks. So you have a ride out to this island out here. There's this like big island out here that's also like, I think it's a state park, Anclote Island, Anclote Key. And there's like an old lighthouse up there. Actually, the lighthouse is open like one day a month right now. You can go all the way up. It's kind of cool. But there's like a really pretty beach out there. There's a boat that can take you out there. You get like 30 minutes at the beach. You got to get back on. It's a pretty fast turnaround. If you can find someone that has a boat to take you out there, it's way more fun. That's a fun beach to like hang out at, pack your lunch, that kind of thing. The next boat ride is actually one that I want to take my daughter on soon. It's a tour of the estuaries. So all the mangroves that grow along all this brackish water, underneath them so much life is born and then eventually makes it out to the Gulf. And they explain a lot of this life cycle on that tour and teach you about the whole ecosystem of the connection between the salt water and the fresh water. It's really fun if you have kids. Okay, the next tour is the dolphin tour. So also that a lot of those go all the way out to Anclote Key, but their goal is to see dolphins, and they're pretty good at finding them. There's a lot of dolphins all around that come into all the way into the bayous. We see them by our house sometimes, and those boat tours, like the goal is to see dolphins. They will make sure you see dolphins. Big Coast Guard helicopter going out there. This is the coast. Makes sense. Okay, next, still on the water, you can rent a kayak, you can rent paddle boards, you can do all kinds of stuff like that down at the sponge docks or at Tarpon Tom's in the middle of town. And there's guided rides on kayaks. There's also, you can just go on your own. Whether those are like clear on the bottom or not clear on the bottom. There's all kinds of rides you can do up the river, through those estuaries, There's one guided ride, I think they do it every Sunday, up to this like dive bar on the river called Anclote Boat Club. This, like, it was rated like best dive bar in the country sometime in the past 10 years. And it's like a really interesting old Florida kind of charming thing. But you can also ride kayaks out to Anclote Key. Like if the weather's not too crazy, that's not such an intense ride, but you can ride up the river, or you can ride out into the Gulf, all kinds of things like that. Okay, these were just some of the things to do in Tarpon Springs. And it took me a while to make this video because these things are just kind of around me and you don't always see what's right in front of you. So I hope you found this useful. And if you live in Tarpon Springs or around it, you have access to a lot of these things. And as always, we would love to earn your real estate business. Our phone number and email are right there on the screen and in the description down below. We would love to hear from you and help you process your move and just see what you're thinking. And let us know in the comments down below if you have any questions about the Tarpon Springs area, about the Tampa area in general. We would love to hear from you. Thanks for coming by.